coconut oil is like a natural boost to you. Some people take a spoonful of coconut oil and it wake them up like coffee.
Oh wow.
Some people put it in their coffee with Irish butter if they're on keto or whatever. So that's what it is for me. For me, it's not about like, it's not a, like, bro, I'm a simple guy, man. Like even when I laugh at Jimmy, like Jimmy has like 5 outfits on purpose. Like it's not a material thing. I really feel like I'm called to help people be wiser with what's in front of them. Wiser with their time, wiser with their resources. Because you know what? You know how many years I watched Christian rappers do ministry saying they don't care about money, but every time it was time to tour, they was asking the church for money?
Dang, bro.
Me and Rigz know the same people.
You going there with it? Okay,
I don't do it for that. It's not what I'm about. I don't do it for that. Yo, we trying to raise money for this tour. Okay. Can we buy a Subway or a Chick-fil-A or something? Because I'm not doing this till I'm 40. That's all it's about. I want to minister, bro. But I had to suffer what I had to suffer to learn what I had to learn. And I'm looking at these brothers and sisters who don't care nothing. Listen, a lot of us come from the same type of place. We didn't always do good in school. Our schools were bad. We weren't taught to value education, all this stuff. And dudes still out here spending their weekly check on studio time. And I'm like, bruh, you think that person that's bagging your groceries that's 60 years old plan to be there? It's not a game. You can love the Lord and be there. And so my heart breaks because I'm like, if I would have continued on my trajectory, I could have easily been one of them dudes. Smart dude, know the Bible, packing bags at 50.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom things, a lot of things that can be chalked up to wisdom that we just don't know. Like I was sat there and I honestly believe that it was just a divine appointment when I even worked for Nationwide, man, because it was like I ain't had no degree. One of my dudes told me about the job. I interviewed. The dude was like, man, you know what? I like your spirit, man. I really like your spirit. And he hired me. And it was 3 other people that had degrees that really should have gotten that job, but they gave me the job, you know? And I made good money working for Nationwide, and I learned a lot about investments and annuities, and I talked to brokers every day. And
wow.
I mean, I learned a lot of stuff, man, that I could just pass on to people that, to me, it was, I knew so much about the stuff that like, I didn't even consider it valuable. Like when you sit here and talk about the stuff that you didn't know, and I'm sitting here like, well, yeah, annuity, it does this, and you can take it out when, you're 59 and a half, and you annuitize it, blah, 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 tax laws.
So let me give a confession about some of you guys on this panel right now. Sometime I be talking to y'all, and y'all spit some stuff that I just learned last week that y'all knew 10 years ago. And I'll be looking at, I'm serious, particularly Gab, Zadok, even Ant sometimes. You be like, oh yeah, I've been through that because I'll be like, what? Like, yo, this is what I'm saying. Like, our people are suffering because of a lack of that. And maybe because it's right in front of you, you don't know. But I'm just learning a lot of this stuff, son. For 15 years, I was Bible and business, but not the financials, the structure, how it works, how you buy. But I never paid attention to it. All I did was read the Bible and read business biographies. That's why I can build a group. But I never understood the underpinnings of so much practical life. My wife married. And it's so funny, man. This is so much more prophetic than I knew. I'm coming to the realization over the past 6 months, my wife married a kid, bro. Not now. She was 26. I was 19. But my mind was in the future. But inside, bro, I was a kid.
Wow.
She married a black man off the street, son. And I was a fool. I had the heart for God. I could quote the Bible, but I didn't have the tools, bro. And I contribute to breaking that woman, man. She came with her own issues too. But I'm just saying, brother. So when I see brothers out here that don't notice, I'm like, yo, man, you need to chill on them Jordans, man. Like, yo, after a while, like I know your wife love your ministry and all that, but look, after a while, she's gonna start wondering where this is going. Just saying. Wow. So anyway, so sometimes I hear y'all say stuff, I'll be like, yo, you knew that?
Hey man, it broke my heart when I worked there, man, and I got to see these accounts, man, where these people were making millions of dollar investments in these annuities, and black folks would call in and they cussed me out about their little $900 annuity, and I just got off the phone call with somebody that's holding $4 million to live in a trailer park. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm thinking like you probably driving a Cadillac and you calling me about this $900, $900 it's in a variable annuity, so it goes up and down with the stock market. And it hurt me to have to listen to those phone calls because it's almost you can tell when somebody black call, you already know they ain't got no money, and it hurt me because I'm like, why are we like this? What is causing this? And this is true, man. This is pre 9/11 that I'm doing this job, and I'm just listening. Every single time, man, it was like that. Every single time the call was like that, and I just wanted to be a broker so I could go into the community and help people and just give them this mindset.
Right.
And then when 9/11 happened, the market tanked, and I'm like, some of the brokers was killing themselves.
Right.
And I was like, man, that ain't what I'm going to do. So I quit and started a business because I thought I could help in that manner. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
Man, I've learned so many things, man. And so I feel a lot of the things what you're saying, man, I've seen it happen with my own eyes. And, hopefully, man, we can educate some folks and make them better. So,
yeah, real talk. I can co-sign on what Gav was saying. I actually mentioned this. Yeah, real.
Man.
Hey,
real. About to school us. Go ahead, man. Do your thing.
No, but I actually said this earlier. And Voss responded with some good information. That's why I didn't respond. I didn't have no rebuttal with what Voss said when I was like, hey, what we gonna do about credit and this and that? Because I had a job just like Gav. I'm in sales though. And so I dealt with having to get a lot of people to approve a credit in order to buy what I'm trying to sell. So just like what Gav said, man, when our own people call, I already knew after doing it for years, it was, I was trying not to stereotype my own people, man, because, man, it's like, man, they never got good credit. They never will get approved. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, we got the young 18-year-olds who are not, our people who will call in, and they would literally tell me their story. Yeah, my dad, he put this American Express in my name when I was 16. So now I'm good to go. I'm 18 now. And he's approved right away, $5,000 credit line, $10,000 right away. Wow. A1 credit by the time he's older, as soon as he's an adult. And it was a learning experience for me because I'm like, man, I need to do that for my son. But I was never taught that. And I never known anybody who was ever taught that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's not just one person. We're talking a trend, multiple people who call in and they're good. You know what I'm saying? Compared to, the other situation where that's not the case, where I really want to just hurry up and hang up. Like, man, I know you my people, but you're going to waste my time right now.
Right.
You know what I'm
saying? Yo, so I was talking to this Asian real estate agent, and I told a story before. And they told me, we were having a real conversation. I said, so, yo, tell me honestly, because she's talking about our own people, Asians from a particular country. I won't say just for public or whatever. So she said, they always such and such. I know my people. I said, so tell me the truth. Tell me what you've experienced from each group. And they looked at me almost like if they could trust me to say it. You know what I'm saying? And they said, all right, I'll tell you. Black people always either lie or are mistaken about their credit. Asians always cheap and trying to get more out of it. They'll use you and then go to somebody else and that's their own people. And Spanish people are always hiding their money because they always got a lot of people in their family off the books and stuff like that. Just thought that was interesting. But when you say that thing about the credit, it's like they said those are the most common things that happen with certain people groups.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Being a contractor, I deal with some of those similar things. Yep.
That's telling. Yep. I just wanted to say this. I think that there's a narrative that this type of conversation produces to me that I think when you got a whole bunch of voices in a room, it's like walking into a cafeteria, man. Like it's so much noise. You walk out of a quiet hallway into a cafeteria, it just sounds like a massive noise. And it's not until you get to the table that you're looking for that you can have a conversation that actually concentrates on what you're trying to express and what you're trying to hear from another. But
Right.
while you're doing that, guess what? The rest of the cafeteria still sounds like a lot of noise, but the body has been made
Chatter.
for the ears to kind of tune them things to the background so you can concentrate on the conversation at your table. And I think sometimes when we're in various chats, sometimes the noise of the cafeteria overtakes the point that you're trying to make. And sometimes it can even make your point look counterproductive. I think that this conversation, and especially with Ant coming back in here, I wanted to say this. Even though I understand the idea of the curses upon people and things of that nature, and I have a certain worldview because of what the Bible has taught me to perceive, I guess, for lack of a better expression, over the last 2 decades. I understand what God told the children of Israel. He told the prophet, let them know y'all about to be there for a while. So while you there, build houses, man.
Wow.
Plant vineyards and have families so that you don't decrease.
Wow.
And so that discussion, what does it take to build houses, plant vineyards, and ensure that there's a generation coming behind you that's still that is taught to fear the Lord? Because you're going to have a generation that's born that don't get to see what the pre-captivity looked like. All they know is, oh, this Babylon, this is where I lived ever since all my memories are here. I don't have memories of nowhere else.
Right.
And I think a point that you made earlier, Voss, about after a few generations, how you had other immigrant populations that came in mass that became amalgamated into society.
Third generation, they level off and become average as Americans.
Right. I don't think that there's pros and cons to what you call the pluralism of society. The pluralism of society still is in many ways an antithesis to the singularity of society. But yet the plurality of society is still the vehicle by which a one world construct is being pursued.
Right.
And that's amazing to me. And I think that there's different levels of conversations that have to be concentrated on. We have the right to have we have the right to have the conversation about what does it take for me as a believer in God, yet a father, a husband, a brother, a son, to ensure that I'm able to provide for myself and I'm able to provide for my children and my wife, and to have ambition and to have goals that I am after, so that I don't suffer the worst because of my lack of production. There's 2 things that I see as a threat to us. One, our own laziness possibly, but also with our best efforts, the exploitation of wages that doesn't give the earner of wages the full share of profit fairly.
Right.
Because if you were truly giving your profit, the profit you help create fairly, then the individual who becomes very wealthy would be less wealthy, probably still wealthy.
Right.
But in order for you to become wealthy, that individual would have to be less wealthy.
Right.
And so these things for me in society, I'm not the guy that want to march and fight for a fair wage.
Right.
I want control of all resources and business opportunities.
Right.
But with that also comes the construct of another side of the mind that still looks and yearns for something different. And I guess that at the end of the day, for me, I see the idea of the nations of the earth being all given a separate inheritance for God that allows you all to, one, retain an autonomy, but yet have a symbiotic relationship with the rest of mankind. Almost like Booker T. Washington set up in his book, Up from Slavery. He gave one of his most famous speeches in Atlanta in the early 1900s, and he told a room full of people who were looking to, how can we help the African American? that man said, look, we need to produce for ourselves and we need to maintain our own resources. He said, like other ethnic groups do here in the continent.
Yeah.
He said, we can be as separate as fingers on the hand.
Oh, but yeah, separate as fingers, but as one singular as the hand. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, but when necessary, we could come together and be as strong as a fist. He said the separateness of fingers still is spoken of in the context of a hand and a fist.
Right.
And I think that for some reason in myself, in spite of I do a lot, and I'm inspired by you brothers with different things that you do, and some of the things that God gave y'all that he didn't give me, so that I would be humble and be able to admire and listen to another and learn.